Grand Rising, everybody. Grand Rising on this Monday morning, June the 1st. I got to be first. I got to be first. What's up, Jackson? How's everybody doing on this Monday, Grand Rising once again? I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you had a good night's sleep. Wake up in the morning with your morning Joe, off to work, doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Listen to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm Raphael Bird, and I just wanted, I want to say, hey, another month. Hey, half the year is almost over. This is half the year. It's 6 months within 2026. As 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 the late great Hulk Hogan used to say, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What's next? What's next for Jackson, Mississippi? What's next for the United States of America? What's next? But anyway, I just still can't get this data center stuff out of my mind. The city council is coming. The regular city council meetings is coming up pretty soon, and hopefully we're gonna get a slot in and try to see if we can get on the, get to the podium and kind of talk whatever. I just want to get it on record because I want to talk about those data centers, and I want to talk about the Jackson Airport. And I'm going to be brief. I'm not going to be, I'm not even going to take up the whole 3 minutes. I think everything what I have to say can last probably like 2 minutes, maybe. So we're gonna try to see if we can get over there to that city council this month. And but like I said, it remains to be seen when it comes to these data centers. These data centers is not good. It's not good. And once again, like I say, I want to say it to you first and foremost. All money ain't good money. I understand this might be a good tax base for the city revenue in terms of taxes and everything, but where are they gonna put this thing at? And for what I hear, it's pointed in the direction of the black community. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? And where in the black community is gonna be held at? I sure hope it don't be in my neighborhood. I hope it don't be in your neighborhood either. I hope it don't be in no Jackson neighborhood at all. At all. Because they don't provide jobs. They provide jobs for some things. Maybe the heating and cooling, maybe some technicians, computer engineers, some folks that's monitoring it and everything like that, but look, I don't know what to say. I just don't know. But I'm interested in your opinion because this affects all of us as residents. And I'm not subscribing to the decisions. If they make that decision to have that sucker come in here, I'm not subscribing to it. I don't subscribe to it. Period. So city council, I hope they're all on the same page and nobody's taking no payoffs. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the city don't have nothing to gain by this. Brandon already had one. Clinton is getting ready to have one. Well, let's say Brandon is getting ready to have one. Clinton, Mississippi is about to have one. Vicksburg. I think Richmond. But Canton, come on. We don't need that stuff. We don't need it. We don't need no data centers. We don't need no data center here in the city of Jackson. I think Pearl and Jackson need to be in solidarity about this. They need to be in solidarity about this. We don't need no, you know what I'm saying? We already got enough issues. They widen out the Pearl River. I don't know for what, but they widen out the Pearl River. They already got that. They already got that project moving and trying to get that up and going. We don't need no more projects up in here. We don't. We don't need no especially a project like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, we already got closures of businesses. Come on, man. That Daiquiri lounges, they closed. Homeway closed his doors. And we don't need that mess. We don't need it. What we need is more businesses to provide more jobs for the people, for the residents. That's what happened. That's what we need. That's what we need. And that right there will create more taxes in the city of Jackson than this data center. Leave me a comment. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me tell me what you think. Because, it's very mind-boggling for me because the data centers, from what I understand, they've been getting nothing but people, the residents in other municipalities has been doing nothing but complaining about them. How noisy those turbines are. The emissions that those things are giving off from the diesel engines. I mean, come on. Potentially, what does that mean for for electricity? If it's running on diesel, so you shouldn't be using no electrical sources. I don't know what for, but maybe I guess maybe it's to run those turbines or whatever the case may be. But I'm not feeling it. Nah, look, not feeling it at all. I'm not. No, I just wanted to lay my plane on that one because, but I really want to know what you think. I really want to know what you think about them data centers coming into the city. We don't need it. But anyway, I want to go into talk about once again this Jackson Airport, because these are the things that I'm going to talk about when I go to the council meeting, because I want to get a clear understanding, and I want us the residents, all of us, to get a clear understanding what that airport is going to mean for us in the future, for Jackson rather. What's it going to mean for Jackson in the future? Because my thing is that I take the Jatran paratransit, right? And like some of you may take just a regular Jatran. You may know someone that takes the regular Jatran. You may have a loved one that takes the regular Jatran bus. You may have a loved one that takes the paratransit. But wouldn't it be ethical for them to have a bus to go out there to that airport? Now, I've been talking about from time to time about the other municipalities having a bus system coming into their municipalities, because it would definitely create a good tax base for them, because if you have people that works in those municipalities, then they don't have to, that right there would create create a good tax base for those individuals that's coming out there. For example, even folks that go to doctor's appointments, or they may have a certain event going on out there. They may want to come out there and patronize patronize the event. The event. And like I said, they may want to. But that's going to create taxes for those municipalities. I can't see why they don't see that. But I know that there is some. I know there's some rules and regulations that I don't quite understand. That's not really clear about jurisdiction issues. But my thing is this. Let's clear that up. How can we clear that up? How can we clear those jurisdiction issues up if we're all within close proximity to each other? When we're all patronizing, you have residents from Richland comes into Jackson. You have residents comes in from Clinton comes into Jackson. You have residents that comes in from Pearl that comes into Jackson. In all of the surrounding cities that surrounds Jackson. But at the same time, Jackson paratransit or the regular scheduled bus can't go out there to those municipalities, and I think that that's an equity problem. That's an equity problem because the residents, should be able to go out there without, you know, paying paying a higher price with an Uber or a Lyft or a private driver. Now, let's make it make sense. Let's make it make sense. Now I know you hear the same thing I hear. Come on now. Let's just be honest here. Let's be honest. You hear the same thing I hear. Pearl, Clinton, Ridgeland, they all say the same. They all sing the same song. We don't want the riffraff in our city. That's what I know that's what you hear. I hear the same thing. But here's the deal. It doesn't make a difference. Homeless folks gonna be everywhere. Vagrants is gonna be everywhere. Criminals is gonna be everywhere. They just don't come out of Jackson. In fact, you got folks dropping folks off here in Jackson, coming out of these certain institutions from other places, drop them right off there at the bus station downtown. What is that about? So it's an entire Jackson issue, because guarantee you this: when Jackson get control of it, they're gonna start dropping it off into your town, Pearl, into your town, Clinton, into your town, Ridgeland, into your town, Flowood, into your town, Madison. So into let's just keep that a buck here. Let's just keep that. I'm being straight up honest. When Jackson get a control of it, they're gonna want to dropping them off in those towns, and they're gonna flood them. So look, we all are in this fight. All of the cities, the surrounding cities of Jackson, need to be in this fight together, not just one city handling whatever issues, because it's a potential that it could happen in the rest of those municipalities. And you don't have enough police officers. You don't have enough, enough authority individuals to, to get a handle on it. So everybody gotta be in solidarity about these things. And this is how you get control of it. Nah, everybody wanna have their own individual city. Clinton's over here, Pearl's over there, Richard over there, and nobody is coming into Jackson unless they got to do some business downtown, or unless they got to deal with the court systems downtown, or they're going to come to work, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be something, but they're going to go back to so they can go back to their prospective homes. And that's not that right for me. That's not good. That's not good. All the surrounding cities they all need to devise a plan, including Jackson, on how we all can benefit from taxes from all of the residents, and still have your individuality of your city. No, that's too much like right. But what I'm talking about here, I know I'm digressing, but what I'm talking about here, it all ties in. I'm talking about that airport. When former Mayor Tony Yarbrough was mayor, Jackson Mayor at Wiley Airport had a $2 million surplus. I remember that number specifically. It was a $2 million surplus. If you don't believe me, go look it up for yourself. At that time, when they discovered that airport had that $2 million surplus, man, they went haywire. Everybody every politician from every part of from city, whether it was the state, whether it was Pearl, whether it was Jackson, you know what I'm saying? They all had their hands and tongue out. I'm not saying Jackson because the airport belonged to Jackson. The airport belongs to Jackson. But what I'm saying is, when they announced that they had that $2 million surplus, that's when the whole thing went haywire. They start tying up this thing with litigation and all kinds of mess. I don't even really know the full story on it. But I know what I do know is from what I remember. When they realized that airport had a $2 million surplus, that's when this whole thing went haywire. And I'm like, well, okay, but all I'm asking is, why don't we have a city bus to go out there to that airport, since the Jackson airport belongs to Jackson, Mississippi? We should have public transportation go out there. Because what's happening is that what you're doing is you're stagnating the residents that take the public transportation. Somebody like myself might want to go to the airport. I might want to just kind of dip off, you know what I'm saying? Dip off all by myself and just like, let me get a shuttle going to the airport. And might want to leave. I might want to leave, go to Detroit somewhere. Nobody know where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Or but for me to take an Uber or a Lyft or hire a private driver to take me to the airport, that's wrong. I should have the same opportunity to go out there at the same expense as anybody else. I should at the same expense as anybody else. I got to pay, maybe $20 or $30 just to get out there to the airport. It don't cost no $20 or $30 to fill up a tank of gas to take me, if I was driving a car, take me a $20, $30 just to go out to the airport. No, I should have the same opportunity to go out there to that airport, pack my bags, pack a little bag, and I get a shuttle bus and going out there, get onto the airport, get on the plane, go about my business, come back, get back on it and let them know, kind of like, because I had a friend came down from New York. Man, that Metro Transit is wonderful. I'm talking about, she really impressed me. And she's not disabled. She's not disabled. She takes the bus. She took the bus. She called their bus system right here in Mississippi. When she got ready to get on the bus, when she got ready to get on her airplane to go to the airport, she made her reservations for the bus for matter of fact, well, she is temporarily disabled because she's temporarily at that time she was temporarily disabled, but she did call the bus and let the bus know that she is going to be at the airport at this particular time. Her plane is going to be landing this particular time, and she's going to be at the airport on this day and this date, right? And it was over with. So when she got off the plane and she was waiting outside, her ride was right there. Her ride was right there. And then you do have public transportation going out to the airport, whether it's LaGuardia, Kennedy, whatever. They still go out there to the airports. So I mean, come on, let's keep that low. I'm not finna sit here and like sugarcoat this or half step this. Like some people, man, they ought to have something like that here. No, I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna do that because it's unfair. It's unfair. And what about the people that works out there at those airports that don't drive? Maybe their cars broke down. They should have another alternative besides Lyft and Uber. And for what I understand, Lyft and Uber is not as effective as they should be. Or as they could be. They're not. So what's this really about? So like I said, it's gonna remain to be seen when we get to that. I'm gonna land my plane on that, but it remains to be seen at that city council. I want to hear what they kind of have to say, because that right there, that was so, well, I understand they're gonna say, well, we're probably gonna have to look into that or whatever the case may be, but I don't care. I just want to get it on the record, and that's how you should be. You know what I'm saying? If you have a problem, go downtown and get it on the record. Get it on the record. Don't just think that they're gonna do something about it, because a lot of times those council members' hands are tied. I don't know why their hands are tied. They have delegated of authority on certain things. You see, cities legislation, things of that nature, and like I said, we understand all of that. But what you want to do is you want to go down there to get it on record. The administration is going to be there. The administration is going to be there. But you want to get it on record, and you want to be heard. And that's the key. That is the key for you as a resident to go down to the city council. Those are your chambers. It's not theirs. Your tax dollars pay them. Those are your chambers, resident. So you gotta understand that. Don't go down there being bashful and act like you don't want to open up your mouth. Be clear and speak intelligently. You ain't gotta go down there and be angry. Just go down there and be intelligent. What the old folks used to say back in the days, you attract more bees with honey than vinegar. You see? So, that's why you said you got to go down there and you got to be very, very intelligent and know what you're talking about. Be studied. Be studied. You ever heard the old saying, we have a slip of the tongue? I spoke before I was thinking. Yeah, you spoke before you could think, but you know something? You can't think without words in your brain. Think about that. You can't think without words in your head. It's impossible. You can't think without words. You see what I'm saying? But you can speak without thinking. But that's why I say you want to go down, write something out. You don't have to memorize it just get key points of what you want to talk about. Get key points to what you want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? If you have a computer or a phone, whatever the case may be, go on to ChatGPT and have them give you a 3-minute schedule or a 2-minute schedule on what you want to say. If you don't know how to prompt it, tell it to make you a prompt, and then you copy it and then paste it back into the chat, put it on another page, put the prompt back in, and it's going to tell you. It's going to drop it back in there with you. You know what I'm saying? So, because, look, you got to start somewhere. Residents, you must start somewhere with being able to go, being able to speak at those meetings. Jatran and Paratransit have meetings. The American Disability Act have meetings. MDRS has meetings. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if that's for the public, but I know those other ones are for the public. They're for the public. And you need to know what's going on. You need to know what's going on. Because a lot of times like I said, a lot of times it does affect you. It may not affect you personally, but it may affect somebody that you know, somebody that you love. So it's always good to go and see what's going on. Stop being stop being a hermit. I mean, come on, man. Is that what we are? Are we hermits? Are we hermits? And then when something goes wrong, we want to complain. Then we want to complain to somebody that can't do nothing about it. That's crazy for me. You want to complain to somebody that can't do anything about, what's going on or what's wrong. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. I just, what I'm saying, because that's why I said, go down there to that city council and just look, ask, is there something that you can do? What channels do I need to go through where I can get this handled? For example, you have some residents that come down there. They may have issues in their neighborhood, some type of maybe some type of criminal activity or whatever the case may be. And what they'll do is that they refer them to the chief of police. Somebody can take their information down, and so they can get this matter, because it's already on record, and they can get their information down so they can get a proper investigation started. They point them in the right directions. That's all you need to do, but get it on record, and maybe somebody can point you in the right direction. That's all I'm saying. So I mean, but you're not going to get anything until you're not going to get nothing until you open up your mouth and go down there and ask and find out. The city council only can do I'm telling you, they can only do but so much. Because just think about it for a minute. Look at the crap, what happened with the water. Their hands is tied. Who tied their hands? Who tied their hands? The federal government. Separation of powers. Separation of powers. You got to know this. Separation of powers. Which that should have never happened. The federal government should have never came in here and did nothing with Jackson water. Never. Jackson should have handled that. They should have handled that. There should have been some type of engineer could have came in here and got this thing handled. But nah, federal government came in and they donated all this type of money and all this kind of stuff, and for infrastructure, this, that, whatever the case may be. I think they got like $800 million or whatever for the infrastructure. Not one pipe has been put down. I know not in my neighborhood. I can't speak about any other neighborhoods allegedly, but allegedly, not one pipe has been put down. And $800 million, in my opinion, heck, $800 million, that's only going to buy the product. That's only going to buy the product. It's going to take way more than $800 million, because then you're going to have a restoration team. That's going to cost. The restoration team is going to cost about that. So let's look. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just merely making a point that a lot of things that's been going on in Jackson, Mississippi, like that water situation, should have never went to the federal government. And that's because that's what ties the hands of the council, of your local legislation, and the mayor administration. the separation of the powers. They can't do nothing. They can't even recommend anything. I'm like, that's crazy. No municipality in Mississippi. Come on. Come on. What municipality do you know in the state of Mississippi? Leave me a comment, please. If I'm wrong, hey look, please correct me if I'm wrong. But no municipality in the state of Mississippi, the federal government has taken over their water. But just leave me in a comment, because if I'm wrong, then please correct me. Correct me. You know, I'm not finna sit here and, you know, I'm just saying, that right there shouldn't have went down. That shouldn't have went down. We sit around here, we blame, point fingers at Shockley Antar Lumumba, but man, please, that mess been going on before he even got in office. So really, who fault that? It really is. Why that thing wasn't addressed a long time ago? Yeah, Shockley did some things. Yeah, we know what he did. We residents, we know what's up. We understand it on the local level, but come on. Come on. And speaking on them, listen. Hey, good luck to him. Good luck to him. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, I just think that, I just don't think that they're going to get a good deal out of this mess, out of this scandal. They're not going to get a good deal out of this scandal. I'm not, look, that's my position on it. I'm not moving. I don't think they're going to get a good deal out of this scandal. They're not going to walk. They got families just like Ted DiBiase Jr. They got families too. All of them. So, I mean, come on. But the feds ain't going to take no L. They're not going to take no loss or no L on this one. Even though this was an entrapment case. Man, this is a clear entrapment case. I don't care what nobody say. Look, let me tell you something. I don't care what nobody say. It was an entrapment case where it was the history on them doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? This was clear entrapment. You know what I'm saying? I really wish that I could pull up the case law on entrapment cases that's related to this case, because I know there is some case law out there, because this is a clear entrapment case. It's clear. I just want to read it. For me, I just want to read it. I want to read it to kind of see, you know, what kind of chances these guys got. I think I'm gonna do that when I get off. Because I really want to read that. I want to read that. Probably tomorrow, if I can pull it up and everything, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it to you, because that's crazy. This is a clear entrapment case. These guys posted as contractors, so they was trying to entrap them. They was clear that young lady that was the former city council, for what I understand, allegedly, she asked them, is this safe for me to do? He's like, yeah, no problem. I'm going to take that credit card, rather. She wasn't sure. Then you going to get a new person? Come on, man. Jackson, look, I'm blind as Ray Charles, and I can see what's going on. I'm blind as Ray Charles, and I can see what's going on. She knew. You know she ain't have no history of doing anything wrong. She just got in there. Let me tell you something. Her case should be the strongest. That this was an entrapment case. This was entrapment. Yeah, feds need to take an L on this, because that young lady should be what's her name? Goodness gracious, I can't remember her name. But she should be the former city council. She was new. Think about it. She was new. Look, we can sit here and say all day long what's right and what is wrong. But when you post yourself as something, as a character, right? As a character, and I'm meeting you for the first time, I think that you are that character. See, there was deception, it was misleading. And you said, regardless whether if I was acting unethical or not, but you was unethical. You was unethical to lead me to believe who you were. You see my point? Can I go deeper? Can I go deeper? That's just like if you meet somebody for the first time in a relationship. You meet somebody for the first time and they tell you that, yeah, they go to work every day, they work here and this, that, whatever, and they turn out to be a bum. They got you. They misled you to think that they work, or they misled you, or let's say you meet them for the first time, and they bring you flowers, or they let's say if it's a man, he's bringing you flowers, he's bringing you candy, he's doing all this stuff, and then he turned out not to be a very nice person later on down the line. He giving you what's called a representative. That's just somebody that he, it's a persona. He's giving you a persona. And it's in its legions. Being fake. Being fake. And you fall for it. And you be like, well, dang, what happened to the flowers and the candy? Yo, forget all that mess, yo. Yo, what's for dinner? Or he paid your bills and then stop. She come in, all nice and everything to you and everything, but then all of a sudden she got a dude on the side. For you guys. Deception. So they show you their representative. That's the same thing that happened with this case right here. And then that young lady, she didn't do anything. She hadn't had no history because she just got in there. She didn't have no history. They set that up for they made them to believe that they were someone else. You know what I'm saying? So what's that really about? Who put them in that position to do that? Because they got a boss too. Why did they target them? Why did they target them with that? Why couldn't they just, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying why y'all didn't bribe the people of the convention center, because they was the ones, because that was supposed to be for the convention center. Why y'all didn't bribe them? Why y'all just make the presentment to the council and then bribe them folks? Folks say, oh yeah, they okay, you know what I'm saying, this, that, whatever, boom, 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 boom. What happened? Well, why y'all didn't do that? Why they didn't do that? Why they didn't bribe the what they call it? What them folks is? I got on the tip of my tongue. Partners. What they call it? Partners of Jackson. Why they didn't bribe them? Why they didn't go down there and bribe those folks and try to persuade them that they were business folks and throw them in jail? Look. See, what I'm thinking is, now I could be wrong. What I'm thinking is, and I could be wrong. What I'm thinking is, when Shockwave and Lumumba did that mess with that garbage, that's where all that stuff came from. Because that was wrong what he did with that trash. But they couldn't prove it, maybe. It's going to come out in the wash. Whatever I'm telling you, it's going to come out in the wash. But I really got something I'm really thinking about. Maybe that thing got something to do with that trash. Because them folks was some kind of interrelated with him with that trash. Richard's disposal. I don't know. I'm just kind of curious. I'm curious. All allegedly. What allegedly? He had some type of relationship with Richard's disposal. Allegedly. And I'm thinking, what was that really? Was it really about that? They're trying to target him? All right. Look, that's one to grow on. You know me. I'm Raphael Bird. And this is the 601 Network, Real Jackson News. We'll see y'all tomorrow. And tomorrow, like I said, I'm going to try to see if I can pull up that case law on this on this entrapment. Because I really want to know. Till tomorrow, stay encouraged.